everybody. I'm Ramon Mejia from the LitRPG Podcast, episode number 175 of the show. I'm here to bring you the latest LitRPG news, reviews, and of course, author interviews. Nice regular week here. 4 new reviews just you folks at home, including some great stuff from the Here Now Festival and in the LitRPG news section. But before we get into that, of course, I want to let you know what we're reviewing this week. And that includes Ankh, Resurrectionist Chronicles, OhmN. Also reviewing this week, Somerset, The Rules, book number 1. And after that, it'll be Apostles of the Sleeping Gods, Disgardium, book number 2. And last but not least, it'll be Home, Siege Home, a LitRPG GameLit novel, the Good Guy series, book number 6 in that series. On to LitRPG news, though. And the big news this week is, of course, the this past weekend, I attended the Independent Audiobook Awards in Kansas City, Missouri. They actually had a nice GameLit category this year. I also attended the Here Now Festival, which is kind of the same thing. They were just mixed together. It was actually a really fun weekend. Got to see a lot of LitRPG authors that I know and love. Also narrators. Hung out with a lot with the Sound Booth Theater crew, Jeff Hayes, Annie Ellicott, Justin Thomas James, Andrea Parsnow, a bunch of other people from that particular group, and also Charles Dean, Dave Wilmar showed up. So lots of stuff. We actually had a couple of live streams that we did, just having fun and hanging out. So definitely check out our Facebook page for those. I'll also try to upload those to the YouTube page for the LitRPG Podcast. But speaking specifically about the Independent Audiobook Awards, they had a GameLit category. Dakota Kraut was presenting the award. It was really fun to attend and see my friend do this. And the winner of that was actually the Hobgoblin Riot, Dominion of Blades, book number 2, written by Matt Dinneman, narrated by Andrea Parsnow. We have pictures here in the video version of the podcast showing them off. Super happy. We actually have a video of that particular awards, which I'll try to pull up right now.
In game-like worlds where they must collect experience and abilities to keep them going to the next level.
We actually recorded.
And I know that this award will be a legendary collectible for the winner.
From my seat in the show.
Now, for everyone else, don't worry, it isn't game over.
Author of Mountain Dew Press, and the Divine Dungeon series, and the another series. But he was presenting. And it was really fun just to see who was there, who was winning, the excitement about the entire awards thing. It was really satisfying to see the GameLit LitRPG genre get like its own category in audiobooks and see people actually, excited about it. Got lots of questions afterwards about our genre, so it was interesting to see there. We'll have the full video, of course, on our website and our Facebook page for you to watch and listen to and see all the excitement. Additionally, at this particular award ceremony, Sound Booth Theater performed a skit called Meta Narrators.
Once again, I'm awoken by the sound of the family of blue jays that seems to have made a home somewhere in my backyard. Or are they cardinals, I wonder? Realizing that some might consider my knowledge of suburban birds, or lack thereof, pitiable. For a moment, I contemplate ordering a cheap field guide off Amazon, before realizing all this worrying about birds.
They also they sang a song called Chase and Iris Theme for Monster Hunter NYC, written by Herman Cooper. And this was a delightful song. I'll be playing this in the background right here, and hopefully you can hear me over the music. But it was delightful, so I'm going to let you listen to that for just a moment.
The bell rings.
And of course, moving on from that, there was also an actual GameLit panel we moderated. I moderated, the Liberty Podcast moderated it. It was on GameLit and LitRPG, and also how it connects to audiobook. We had a whole huge, great, amazing panel, a group of panelists, including Dave Wilmar, Charles Dean, Dakota Kraut, Harmon Cooper, Jeff Hayes, Andrea Parsnow. They were all amazing. I tried to live stream it from the show, so the audio quality and video quality isn't amazing from what I recorded personally. I tried to increase the volume, though, for you guys to listen to. You can, of course, catch it on the LitRPG Podcast Facebook page as a live stream, or I also uploaded it to YouTube for you to watch there as well on our YouTube page. But again, we have lots of footage for you guys. There's also a fully, really nice produced stream a video from the Independent Audiobook Awards. I believe it was created by Annalise Sweeney and her crew. Really nice quality video, much better than mine. Much better sound quality too. We'll link in the show notes to watch the entire award ceremony there. Also links in the show notes for all our recordings of the GameLit part of the awards, the meta narrators skit, the Chase and Irish song performance, and also the GameLit LitRPG panel as well. So all kinds of things for you to check out from this past weekend at the Here Now Festival that we went to. So thank you, Patreon supporters, for making this possible as well. So all kinds of great stuff come from being supporters of the podcast. Okay, on to things that are out now. I haven't had a chance to read them, but they are out. That includes Dungeon World 2, a Dungeon Core experience, the second book in the Alchemic Weaponer series, which is a Viridian Gate Online side series, is out. There were some issues with the pre-order page. I believe all the pre-orders were canceled, which kind of sucks. So if you want to read this book, I'm letting you know it's out, so you might have to order it again. Which is going to suck for the sales for that particular project, but definitely go check it out if you're a fan of that particular series, side series. Also out is the next book in the Runes of Rimnar series, book number 5, called The Conjurer, if you're into that series. The third book in the Road Dungeon series is out, called Troll Nation. This one is actually doing amazingly well. I believe it's top 400 right now on all of Amazon, which is really good. So congrats to James Hunter and Eden Hudson on that. I really enjoy the series. I look forward to reading it myself. The second book in the Cypre Online series is out, called Login Recoded, as is a new book called Age of Victoria by Austin Sleet. A new book called The Scared But Willing from R.W. Carpin is out. He actually wrote a trilogy of books, which are escaping my name at the moment. But it's another series he wrote is about a group of soldiers who are transporting new game worlds. It's a LitRPG, but it's each one of the worlds is a little bit different. It was a really fun series if you like military fantasy. I'm not sure what this one's about, but the author has a good reputation as far as producing some quality content. So I'm looking forward to checking this out, see how it goes. Also out from Deck Davis is Steelwork Player Reborn. So if you like Deck Davis stuff, not everybody does. It's kind of been hit or miss for me. I liked his last series a lot, which was more of a necromancer-based kind of story. And I'm curious to see if I like this one as well. The cover seems a little cartoony, but I'll give it a shot myself. Also out is 8-Bit Bastards Level 1, written by Joshua Mason, who's written some other stuff in LitRPG GameLit stuff. And one more round, a LitRPG adventure, Fury Realm book number 1. This is completely new to me, so we'll have to see how this one turns out. Also out is an omnibus from Crystal Shards, which combines books 1 through 3 in that series. It's a fun series, and if you haven't had a chance to read it, this might be a good way to save yourself some bucks or just read it all at once on Kindle Unlimited. But those are some stories that have come out since the last time we had a podcast. Quite a few of them. On to some new LitRPG audiobooks. There's a nice little list there as well. Limitless Lands book number 3 is out as an audiobook. The third book in the Good Guy series is out as an audiobook called Dungeon Mauling. The second book in the Rise to Omniscience series, Starbreak, is out as an audiobook. The second book in the Shift series, called Stealthcaster, is out as an audiobook as well. And the audiobook for Towers of Heaven is out as an audiobook, narrated by Steve Campbell. So if you're a fan of the audiobook narrator, the book is really good as well. So I'm curious to see if they mesh well. I hope they do. In upcoming LitRPG, this is just where I read a bunch of stuff that's coming out in the near future. Awaken Online Unity is going to be out on June the 18th. That's actually a side quest story for the character Frank, if you're interested in that. A new book called Vines of Austeria will be out on June the 18th as well. On June the 20th, City of Freedom, Adam Online book number 2 will be out. The third book in the Din Chamber series will be out on June the 20th, called Evolution. The third book in the Archemia Online series, called Kingdom Come, will be out. That'll be out on June 22nd. Shift 2, Stealthcaster. So the audiobook is actually out before the ebook. That's interesting. I just recognized, hey, that book looks really familiar. So the audiobook is out before the ebook, if that's a correct listing there. So, okay. Sometime in June, Ball of Light Evolution should be out. In July, on the 18th, Time Master Interworld Network book number 1 will be out. On July 23rd, Cannibal Demon of the Mind, a post-apocalyptic survival LitRPG series, should be out. The third and last book in the Nora Hazard series should be out, called Accounts Payable, out sometime in July. No official date from the author, Blaise Corbin. August the 5th, Here Go, which is the third book in the Champions is Playing series, will be out. August the 8th, the new book in the Barleona universe, written by Vasily Manko, called Invasion, book number 1, The Second Chance, will be out. On August the 15th, from Eric Ugland, who's the author of the Good Guy series, is the first book in the Bad Guy book series called Scams and Scoundrels. So I'm not sure if it's set in the same universe as the other series or if they're just tangentially related, but he'll have a new series out on August the 15th. August 31st, it'll be Zones of Alacria. The author was nice enough to point out how to say that last portion of it, called The Dragon's Gate, the Experimental Alchemist, book number 1. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but the author has let us know that she did write a LitRPG story. So there you go. Sometime in August will be Blaise Corbin and Outsman Foster's second book in the First Song series, called First Song, book number 2. It'll be out sometime in August. On September the 2nd, it'll be The Game of Villains, Ruled the Kirk, book number 1. On September 19th, from Dan Sergeloff, which is the Disgardium series and some other good stuff, The Blood of Fate, Ruled 99, book number 1, which is apparently a LitRPG Wuxia series. Somebody from the readers in the fans of the podcast pointed out that it's Wuxia, and I'm probably still saying it wrong, but that'll be out on September the 9th. So all kinds of great stuff. On to, though, new releases and reviews. Okay, up first is the Ankh Resurrectionist Chronicles OhmN. This is 348 pages, $1.49, which is a really good price right now. I think it's a temporary price, though. It is also available in Kindle Unlimited. Here's the author's description. After failing to successfully colonize the closest planets, the United States, China, and Russia all turned their attentions to the new planet, LHS 1140b. Cryogenically frozen is incomplete. The body is frozen while the mind slowly turns to mush. As a solution, the United States forces 100 million volunteers to upload their minds to the artificial neural kinesthetic habitat, Ankh servers. Servers that will recreate the consciousness to one of 5 different starting planets, so as long as they can make their way out of the starting area. Everyone is given 7 lives to get through enough points to be chosen for resurrection on the new planet. However, the game is rigged. The rich have purchased improved starting locations, abilities, and additional lives. There was a chance. Sell your starting lives for starting powers and abilities. The more starting lives traded, the greater the rewards offered. The only problem, powers earned in this manner will no transfer upon death, unless you are rich. Will you live? Will anyone survive the trip to the new world? And again, that's all read verbatim from the novel description. And you can tell there are few little small snacks there. Okay, this novel took me honestly well over a week to finish, and I really found it a hard book to enjoy out of the 15% mark. If a novel takes me more than a couple days, I'm not really having a good time with it generally. The first section of this is actually nice. It really is. The first 15% I liked. Those you get set up for the main character being sent to the game world. It's an interesting twist of you being able to trade extra lives for game powers. It sets up some interesting character creation scenarios, and I really like that particular section of the story. It was smart. There's a good balancing between these are good traits, these are negative traits. How am I balancing them out to create the most powerful character possible? And it's very much geared towards creating this overpowered character. But again, it balances out with some flaws for the character as well. So it made sense, and I liked it quite a bit. The main character is again overpowered in the story, which is fine. However, once he gets his psychic powers leveled about 15% into the story stops really being challenging for him in combat anyways. There aren't other types of challenges that make up for that. No social or emotional growth, anything like that. There's a lot of good action adventure scenes, and that's perfectly fine. And I enjoyed those to a degree. There are a few other things that also brought the story's enjoyment level down for me, including the absurd number of character character sheets. Like there are something like 8 to 10 pages of character sheets at the end of every single chapter. And while I'm not saying that they're not accurate information, there aren't always a lot of changes between chapters to justify that much stuff. It like I said, it kind of bugged me. You can see it's very skippable as an ebook, but I also noted it bugs some other readers as well. There we go. Overall, though, the comment in the story is nice. After a while, the overpowered aspects of the story stop kind of being entertaining for me because there aren't another challenge. And writing an overpowered character story is kind of challenging in that respect. In that, yes, you can have some really exciting fight scenes. You're never really worried about the main character dying or losing because you kind of know inherently he's going to win from either his powered powers or his like super brainish, whatever that is, whatever the characteristic is. But at the same time, it can be kind of boring because nothing is challenging, so there are no surprises for the main character. So the way you generally balance that out is you create other kind of non-combat challenges and way for the main character to progress either as an individual or social situations or other things that he's not good at besides fighting. You see that with, Dragon Ball Z, or the best example of an overpowered character is One Punch Man for Season 2 is not that amazing so far. But again, there are other challenges to the main character besides just the overpowered fighting. And that just doesn't exist here, at least for me. However, if you, as a reader, really love an OP character story, this might really work for you. It just kind of misses good for me, unfortunately. So it gets a score of 6 out of 10. That's the Ankh Resurrectionist Chronicle with a score of 6 out of 10. Just misses being good for me. And next we have Somerset, the rules book number 1, written by Aaron Oster. It is 361 pages, $3.99. It is available on Kindle Unlimited. Here's the author's description. Welcome to Somerset, a land of mystery and magic. You have been chosen by your illustrious overlord to take part in the rules, a no-holds-barred death match to see who among you is the most powerful. You have been transported here against your will. The only way back is to reach level 100 and defeat the final boss. Please do be careful with your life, as it is the only one you'll get. Have a pleasant match, and remember, we're always watching. When Sam wakes up with a strange new world with a message floating before his eyes, he thinks he's hallucinating. However, he soon discovers a land filled with dungeons, monsters, angry gnomes, and even worse, talking dogs. Warning: contains profanity and content matter suitable for children. This is a LitRPG book containing multiple stats pages, message windows, dungeons, and epic loot. Okay. Unfortunately, this, as a review, this story really didn't do anything to distinguish itself from other transported to game world stories. The slice of life adventure is not bad. It's not poorly written or anything like that. It just wasn't particularly special. There is a fair bit of humor in the story, and if it lands with you, you may like this story more than I did. Unfortunately, the humor didn't really land for me. And I think I remember reading that being the case with the author's other stories as well. But what really kind of turned me off from the story and really stopped me from enjoying things were the characters. The main character and his animal companion start the relationship off rather aggressively arguing, and they never really seemed to like each other. So frankly, neither did I. I was never really given a reason to like the main character or to root for him. And even looking at the cover art, that's an intentional thing of the story. The main character looks super aggressive, trying to fight a bunny for some reason on the cover, and that is a real characteristics of the main character, and it's there. And I know there's probably some running gag with that in the novel, but it just didn't click in my brain as particularly funny. It seems like it's a very particular sense of humor, and it just never came across particularly good for me, unfortunately. The premise of the story also was never really explained enough that it made sense to me. The main character is kidnapped and has to level to level 100 to beat the world's god, essentially. And I was never really given like a really good explanation of why that was happening, what his other options are. He just kind of goes along with it. And it's really just an excuse for him to do some slice of life adventuring and leveling and fighting, and that's perfectly fine. But the premise never really clicked for me either. Like I said, there's actually lots of crunchy numbers in this story for those people who really enjoy that. However, most of the RPG mechanics are rather standard, with the exception of this daily rule scenario where the main character has to follow a new daily rule every single day, or he gets cursed and penalized. And again, it's meant to add some randomness and some potential humorous elements to the story. But again, it came off to me annoying and rather arbitrary sometimes, and it didn't work for me either as a game mechanic. Overall, writing's not bad; it really isn't. However, the story just didn't work for me in those couple ways, and a few elements just kept kind of bothering me. And there's nothing really special outside of that to really push me back into enjoying it. So for me, it was just kind of an okay story. Didn't really work, wasn't good for me, wasn't like bad or boring necessarily either. It's not a boring story, I'm not saying it is. It's just I never hit good on this particular novel. So for me, Somerset the Rules book number 1 gets a score of 6 out of 10. And next we have The Apostle of the Sleeping Gods, Disgardium book number 2, LitRPG series, written by Dan Sirganoff. This is 563 pages, $6.99. It is not available on Kindle Unlimited. And here's the author's description. Your parents are getting divorced. Now, once you turn 16, you'll be doomed to a pitiful existence on the lowest rungs of the society. The neighbor girl got plastic surgery for your sake and is leveling fast to impress you. A sleeping god gave you its power, but now demands absolute loyalty and obedience, even in real life. Something called the Destroying Plague wants its emissary to infect everyone alive, and as luck would have it, that emissary is you. But the city sees you as its salvation, not a cause of great suffering. Sith, aka Alex, is a potential Class A threat to the whole world of Disgardium, and that's how the system classifies IMBA players with an unfair advantage. However, it is hard to threaten the world while you're stuck leveling up in Noobtown, and it's even harder when all the Preventer clans are on the verge of announcing a hunt for you and even your best friend can't be trusted, all while your 2 patron gods tear you apart from the inside. And now, to make matters worse, your biggest enemy has just become a threat as well. Okay, full disclosure, I received an advance copy for review. I purchased a copy when it became available. Really easy review for this one. This is the second book in the series. I liked this one actually more than book 1. Book 1 had a few little tiny issues. Beginning of book 1 was a little slower paced. It took a little bit of time to get into the actual MMO adventuring and OP-ness. And this one just got there more quickly. I also found myself genuinely surprised by several story twists in book 2 rather. And I like that. I like being surprised and not seeing sometimes where things are heading. It's enjoyable for me. A few of the OP power shift a little in the story, but it maintains that slice of life, overpowered adventuring without getting boring. And again, that's because there were other challenges for the main character besides just the combat, which is very well written. I'm actually looking forward to seeing where book 3 goes. For me, Apostles of the Sleeping Gods, Disgardium book number 2, gets a score of 7.8 out of 10. And last this week we have Home Siege Home, a LitRPG GameLit novel, The Good Guys, book number 6, written by Eric Ugland. It is 340 pages, $4.99. It is available on Kindle Unlimited. Here's the author's description. Montana Cockshell is feeling the squeeze, and not just because of his new leather pants from the goddess Iona. His little safe-holding in the ruthless world of Valderne is under siege on both sides. And the front is Lord Catrix, a grade A Imperial flunky if there ever was one. He's clearly ridiculous, but the army he brought with him might not be. Plus, they're bent on blocking Cockshaw from getting any food or supplies from the outside world. And at the back are the Ursus, the larger-than-life bear people who've traditionally called this valley home. They're none too pleased with Montana for taking a few Ursus refugees and would like the 400-pound Goldilocks and her followers out of their house. Now, thank you very much. Battles are brewing and the entire town is being held hostage, and despite all of his strength and ability, Montana needs to do some serious training to get Cockshell out of this. There are actual stakes this time. Children can starve, his friends have gone missing, and Montana's not sure he has what it takes to save everybody. There we go, nice little description. Honestly, this is the 6th book in the series, you're either kind of went with it or not. This is a very action-oriented novel, lots of good siege stuff here. That siege thing is probably the biggest change between the last book and this one. It was teased that there was going to be one, and this is the actual process. There is some progress in this story in those regards. There's not a ton of it. There's not a lot of resolution here. This series is definitely stretching it out. There's some good action adventure stuff. There's a little bit less RPG progression than I would have liked. There is more town building, and a lot of good stuff here. There's good slice of life adventuring. However, the most common complaint, I think, in the other reviews that I read were that the story feels too short. And even at 340 pages, that just means that this thing went by really quickly. And that's, to me, always a sign of really good, entertaining writing. When the story feels like it's only 100 pages long, but it's really 340, that's always a good sign. And to me, that's a good signal as well. I've kind of felt the same. Like, the story goes by really quick just because of the pacing and the way that it's written and how enjoyable it is. For me, good score is 7.5 out of 10. Having a good time with the series. Always enjoy it. And again, you have to be okay with slice of life kind of stories. But if you are, you'll enjoy this entire series. I like book number 6 in particular. That's Home Siege Home, a LitRPG GameLit novel with a score of 7.5 out of 10. Okay, that's it, everyone. There you go. I finished. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for following. Had a great time at the Here and There Festival. So everyone who was there, just thank you for hanging out with me and for including me in all your wonderful adventures there. I had a really amazing time talking to so many people. And again, trying to put together all the footage of everything that I recorded at that particular festival. The award stuff. A lot of it's going to be up on the Facebook page for the LitRPG podcast, but also going to have it on our YouTube page. Our YouTube page is actually under the name Geek Bites Podcast. Just because that was the first podcast we did. But we'll have a link in the show notes for you to find either one of those. And you can see the nice things we have there. But until then, remember, you can enjoy the podcast. You want to support us, you can find all the ways to do so at litrpgpodcast.com/support. We'll have links in the show notes for all the places you can find and follow us at. But until we can hang out again, ladies and gentlemen, remember to go read some LitRPG. Goodbye, everybody.